Hello and welcome back to our life. Feels like an eternity since we've done a playthrough. We are currently doing Derek's epilogue. So, let's get into it. Nodding along, you followed as he enthusiastically showed you the way. Derek knocked solidly, but not loudly, on the door. They knew you were coming. It didn't take you by surprise when it almost opened immediately. They knew you were coming. It didn't take you by surprise when the door almost immediately pulled open. Miss Suárez joyfully greeted the both of you. Hi, welcome home. Without a second thought, she wrapped her eldest into her arms. Derek gladly hugged her back with the same vigor. Hey, Mom.
Good to see you.
So good to see you. And Callie, too. She ushered you inside and you got your first look around. Suárez had moved there a couple of years ago, but you never got to visit until now. It was still as homely and as comfortable as our apartment. When you traveled further inside, you spotted Mr. Suárez sitting at the kitchen table with a chilled drink. He took a slow, drawn-out sip, and then he placed the cup down and got up to join everyone else. He stood in front of you like you were a newly arrived audience. He pointed at his wife and out. Mom made me promise not to get the door. He wanted to be the one to answer. Mr. Suárez was unapologetic and owned up to her actions entirely. She went over to her husband and soothingly rubbed his back.
Thank you.
Thanks for being such a good sport about it. Of course. But I have to get my greeting now. Doing exactly as he promised, Mr. Suárez turned from his wife to you and Derek, the two guests in his home. He pushed his glasses higher up his nose. Hello, kids. I'm happy you came early. I couldn't ask for better visitors. You are both looking wonderful. You hugged them as you spoke. Overwhelmed with joy, you pulled Mrs. Suárez into a big hug. When you let go, you did it all over again with Mr. Suárez. They were both just as delighted to squeeze you back. Why, thank you, Callie. Mr. Suárez held himself proudly at your praise, while Mrs. Suárez tried to hold back her giggles. You're so sweet to us. Okay. Derek clapped his hands together, and you couldn't help but smirk. The image reminded you so much of his mom trying to bring order to her rambunctious sons. And speaking of, so where are the bros? It's the same as always. You arrived first. That made sense to you. You'd be in Suárez there. He had to rearrange his date to fly to make it, but why wasn't Nico there? Gyro was raised in surprise. You didn't have to ask for an explanation. Mrs. Suárez gabbed about it in an intentionally over-dramatic tone. That is my question each day. Nico is never home with me anymore. Now that school's out, he travels into the city as soon as he gets up, and now comes back in the evening for dinner. A mother's gloom over a baby growing up was given its silver lining by the father.
Yes.
He's independent.
Maybe.
He usually is, but... Mrs. Suárez held her cell phone up, and her lips curled into a mischievous grin, gutted a wink, when she shifted her attention to you. I might have sent a text that you two were coming by. I'm sure that'll get his attention. He'll get his butt back here sooner rather than later for a change. Right. It struck you then by Derek's understanding tone that none of this was news to him. Derek explained Nico's habits for your sake. The whole family was as polite as they were perceptive. Since we've got time, why don't you show Callie the condo?
Let's go.
I was about to suggest the same thing. What do you think, Callie? Want to take the tour? For sure. Mrs. Suárez's delight was evident. She endearingly looped her arm through yours and led you directly. Similarly to what Derek had done earlier that day, friends led you through the highlights of their new home. Mrs. Suárez proudly listed off all the amenities the complex offered outside as well. Derek leisurely followed along behind the group, mostly listening to the fact list. Had a few notes to add here and there. Sometime later, a phone interrupted the conversation with a loud ding. "Oh, sorry, that's me." He partially shifted the phone out of his loose pocket and checked for any important news. He beamed victoriously and let his phone slide back into the depths.
Nice.
Clary's here! And with good timing, the tour was complete. Let's go meet Junior. The current group left the hall behind and crowded back into the living room, ready for the party to grow in size. As you got there, you heard a firm and even-paced strings of knocks on the door. Mr. Suárez eagerly shouted over the second. Sound, not second. My turn!
All right.
That's fair. Surely, Mr. Suárez jaunted off and swung the door wide open, knowing that his middle son was on the other side. And he was. So, Clary Junior Suárez was hardly a junior anymore. Look at our small boy! He has grown! Nice to see him, actually. Clary had not only grown taller than his big brother, but he also towered over his parents. Her jaw would have been on the floor if Derek hadn't mentioned this earlier. Still, from his neatly sandy brown hair, his calm expression and relaxed stance, you knew it was still the same boy you knew as a kid. Clary also remained a placid presence in his rambunctious family. They cheered at his arrival, and he smiled sweetly.
Hello.
Hello. I hope I didn't keep you waiting. Welcome home, Junior.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. You didn't take long at all. Derek struck when Clary was distracted by their parents. He hooked an arm around his brother's neck, pulling him close. Clary hugged Derek to his side. So, Derek's already here, huh? Here I am. Never would have guessed that. The brothers let go and gave each other one last slight shove. Clary went over to you next. Hey, Kelly, it's been a while. I've been waiting forever to see you. You opened your arms for a hug. You didn't give him much of a choice because you quickly pulled him in. When his brain caught up, you felt Clary gently hug you back. Let's not wait forever before we hang out again, okay? Alright, it's good to see you. You notice the remaining rigidness from Clary's frame. He snagged a drink from the kitchen and settled in. He was joined there by the others, and he recounted his day so far. Eventually, you heard the distinct sound of the doorbell jingling, then turning. No knocking was required for this one. It was the only person it could be, the last arriving for the gathering, and the last to have been born. Nicholas. The door popped open with a swish, and you saw that you were undeniably right. It was Nico, but his appearance had your brows pinching. He was extremely different, yet simultaneously similar to the 6-year-old you had met him as. He is weirdly stylish as well. He's got more of a feminine build, a little bit of muscle definition. But that outfit I love. Like, I love his outfit. It's patchwork, which is really cool. And obviously he still got his hair clips, a bit of messy hair. And it's decently long. It screams Nico. Somehow his hair managed to be even wilder than when he was an elementary school kid. But besides that, he had become a young man despite continuing to be a baby in your mind's eye. He was sporting a colourful rainbow romper that was fashionable as it was functional, as well as his iconic hair clips to round out the mix of old and new. Nicholas is back! With a roll of his eyes, Nicholas animated the gesture and held out his arms. You bit back an amused laugh. No shit! I live here! That's not news! News is that Derek and Kelly are back! He bounced over and managed to securely lock himself around his brother's wide chest. Derek wrapped an arm across his brother's shoulders in response. Derek ruffled Nico's long, thick hair before letting him go. It was sweet that the gesture of affection between them hadn't changed, even though Derek didn't have to lean down to do it anymore. Hello, son. Thank you for coming. Walking by, Nicholas gave a short wave to his parents, then elbowed Harry charmingly as his hello. Harry teasingly retaliated with a poke to his little brother's side. Finally, Nicholas stopped in front of you. Hey, Kelly. Welcome back to Casa Suárez. It's my sweet baby boy! You hugged him. He groaned as you tightly wrapped him in a hug. You teasingly held on for a while longer. Come on! I ain't sweet or a baby. Alright. Let the squirming boy go. But he defensively crossed his arms. Nicholas tried to maintain his chill demeanor, but he wasn't ineffective as a teen as he would like to be. Now that the whole Suárez family plus you was together again, Mr. Suárez admiringly looked at his wife and his sons. He securely hooked his fingers into his belt loops.
That's good.
This is very good, yes. I wonder if everyone will be coming back tomorrow as well.
Of course.
Of course, Dad. Kelly and I are gonna be here for sure. I might manage to work it into my busy schedule.
What do you think?
Also, while we're talking about tomorrow, that reminds me. I wanted to ask if it would be alright for Mr. Holden to join us for Father's Day. It could be a joint party with us and Callie's family. Oh, Clive! That would be quite an event. I would be happy to have the company.
I figured.
I figured, but I wanted to ask first. We'll invite him when we go down to Kelly's neighborhood later. He breathed a sigh of relief. The last thing he wanted was to disrupt Father's Day for the Suárez. For Mr. Suárez. God. Thank you.
That is all right.
No need for that. The more the merrier. As Mr. Holland himself might say. I already can't wait for tomorrow.
Wonderful.
Superb. That's exactly what I wanted for the day.
Well...
And... He curiously peeked at Derek, and watched him shift his feet oddly. A tingle of excitement started coming off him, and you realized what he had in mind. Since we're here, Callie and I have got to tell you something. You're in a relationship. Dad!
Is that wrong?
What? Isn't that wrong? Well, you know what Derek felt about Callie? Mrs. Suárez groaned loudly and hid her face in her palms. Oh my god, he is right and wrong at the same time. It is so funny. Mrs. Suárez groaned loudly and hid her face in the palms of her hands. Clary put his hands on his hips and gave his dad a hard look. Maybe not. We have no idea. Don't steal their thunder before they set anything. He's right, Gregor. Why can't I not say the name now? I could say it before. He's right, Gregorio. Let them talk. Mr. Suárez stroked his beard thoughtfully. Oh, sorry, kids.
Go on.
Derek, please keep going. What did you want to say?
Okay.
Yes. Because I said a word. My lips are sealed. Derek showed you a look that was both apologetic and encouraging. He turned back to the waiting eyes of his family and scratched his cheek. Well, Dad was right. In a way. His cryptic pause made his family quickly fall silent. Derek's grin widened teasingly. Guess who's maybe gonna be part of the family? It's me! Stunned into silence by that revelation, the Suárez family stared at both of you. Right. Here's the deal. Almost a decade ago, Callie and I promised that we would get married if we were single in 10 years. That deadline is the end of the summer. And we're both single. So we're double checking our compatibility before we might have to tie the knot. Contractual obligations and all that. You know how it goes. I wish I could just be just like my character self and try to just stifle the laugh, but I can't. Turning away from Derek, you bit down your bottom lip and tried to stifle a laugh. It was hilarious how absurdly far away 23 had seemed when you were 13. The bewildered Suárez family continued to gawk. The first sign of life was spotted was Mr. Suárez slowly scrunching his face.
Why?
Why not simply be together? That is what you want, isn't it? Miss Suárez softly swore to her husband's arm.
No more.
I'll let them be. When she glanced over at you and Derek, he instead clapped with genuine cheer. If that's the plan, I wish you all the luck in the world. Yes. If you are happy, then we are happy. Confusion morphed into support, as much from one parent as the other. Larry, however, was amused by the entire situation, and he put the palm of his hand to his forehead.
What?
10 years ago. You asked Callie to marry you when you were 13. Well, sort of. It had conditions and a long timeline. But hey, I never said I was the one who came up with the whole thing. You didn't have to. Who else would have put that together? With a laugh, Derek surrendered. Larry crossed his arms, wearing a pleased smirk.
You've got it.
Yeah, alright. You got me. You're right about all of it. Well, I hope your late plan works out. Me too. And thanks, Larry. Actually, thanks everyone for not freaking out. I'm glad my potential fiancé comes with good in-laws. Placing her hand over her heart, Miss Suárez glanced over her husband. He matched her tender smile.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to have you. We couldn't have dreamed of someone better suited for our Derek. Derek rubbed the back of his neck out of embarrassment, but you called him peeking at you still. He wondered how you had won the romance lottery. Breathing steadier now. That was the hard part. Breathing steadier now, that was the hard part over. It suddenly struck you had some... My god. It suddenly struck you had someone that had been uncharacteristically quiet. The audience had only consisted of 3 to 4 members of Derek's family. Nicholas had nothing to say, or nothing he was willing to mention out loud. Or you could pass observation on Derek. He subdued his expression, showed that he was aware. That actually didn't surprise you. He was never one to ignore his little brother. Nicholas hung behind the crowd. Derek made eye contact with him. Since there was nowhere to hide, Nicholas plastered a smile on his face. But he still wouldn't speak. Derek was equally quiet. There was something there, and he wasn't going to open that can of worms in front of everyone. Instead, he looked up. Her presence chased away his worry. Instead, he looked up, and your presence chased his worries away. His joyful excitement reignited. You followed Derek's lead and allowed yourself to be happy. There would be plenty of opportunities to talk everything out with Nicholas. The rest of the Derek family continued to voice their sincere encouragement of your relationship. Paul and the conversation calmed down and shift. Things returned to the usual comfort you had enjoyed when you were with the Suárezes. Mr. and Mrs. Suárez provided lunch. It was nice for the whole family to be sitting at one busy table. But afterwards, Derek announced that you two should hit the road. I'm gonna get going too. I've still got a class later. Are you serious? We've barely done anything. Sorry, Nico. We've got to take a trip out to Sunset Bub before it gets any later. Fine. Me, you, and Clary are going to do something together. It's not just Father's Day. It's not just the Father's Day thing, okay? Something that's going to be fun with just us. Sighing affectionately, Mrs. Suárez shared a look at her snickering husband. Nicholas was going through the iconic parents are uncool teen phase.
Don't worry.
Don't worry. I made sure I had that whole day free. I promised to come over early. Derek tilted his head towards you, finally asking your opinion before agreeing to anything. Okay, that's fine with me.
I swear.
Cool, got that? We'll be both there. Count on it. We can do whatever Nico wants in the afternoon. Then it'll be Dad's pick in the evening. Alright, see you then. With that said, everyone exchanged their goodbyes and see you soon. You and Derek left in good spirits. You hopped back into his car, eager for home. Sunset Bird was waiting for you. During the drive, you sent off a text to let your moms know you'll be coming back soon. They knew you were arriving today, but they had no idea when you were going to be free for them. But they had no idea when you were going to be free to come see them. You decided you'd surprise Mr. Holden. The corners of your mouth curled mischievously. You had a good feeling he'd be home this afternoon. Humming to himself, Derek sped down the highway. The city's skyscrapers were far behind you in the distance, and there was nothing but rolling hills of green. Right, I don't think we've actually properly looked at this car. It was strange to be sitting with shotgun with Derek after all the years of your friendship with being trapped in a long-distance zone. But at the same time, it also wasn't. What was arguably stranger was how his presence affected you. Having him there by your side was the most normal thing in the world to you. Also just noticed, it's an automatic. That makes me wonder, did he learn to drive a manual or just an automatic? Because with the manual you can drive both a manual and an automatic, but with an automatic you can't drive manual. Weird. Soon enough, you began to recognize landmarks on the way to your hometown. Excitement buzzed under your skin. You're ready to get back home. The car flew past the now leaving sign, and you rolled down the window to wave at it. Officially, you were finally back in Sunset Bird. It didn't take more than a few minutes to drive through the rest of town and roll into the sleepy neighborhood where you grew up. Derek parked along the curb and you both set out.
Nice work.
We made it! Safe and sound! Derek leisurely leaned on his car. He looked over the roof at you and lifted a questioning brow. So, what do you want to do first? See your mums or go check on Mr. Holden? Let's visit Mr. Holden first. If he's not there, we can try after seeing my mom. We can try again after seeing my mom's. And if he's there now, there's a chance he might not be when we're done with the other visit. Sounds reasonable to me.